What if I told you there's a country in the Middle East where bikinis and luxury beach clubs exist side by side with armed militias and collapsing banks? A country once richer than Japan and France in its golden era, but where today millions of people struggle just to buy bread. This is the unbelievable reality of Lebanon. Learn about a country every day. Lebanon. If you think every Middle Eastern country is deeply conservative, then you probably don't know Lebanon at all. In many parts of this country, especially the secular districts of Beirut and the Christian coastal cities, women rarely wear black robes or headscarves. They can go out freely without needing permission from a male guardian. Bikinis, short skirts, crop tops, and off-shoulder outfits are completely normal in these areas. Couples openly date, live together before marriage, and enjoy a level of freedom rarely seen elsewhere in the region. But at the same time, Lebanon is also home to some of the most conservative communities in the Middle East. In the southern regions controlled by Hezbollah and in certain rural religious areas, society follows a much stricter religious code. Alcohol sales are heavily restricted. Women often wear headscarves or full body coverings, and gender separation is common. This extreme contrast makes Lebanon one of the most culturally divided countries in the world. And here's the shocking part. In some Muslim communities, men are legally allowed to marry up to 4 wives. In certain areas, through temporary religious marriage arrangements. Some men have reportedly had even more wives over time. Lebanon truly feels like two completely different worlds living inside one country. But this country was not always struggling. Lebanon was once called the Paris of the Middle East. Even though the country has no oil reserves, it became one of the wealthiest nations in the region during its peak years. Back then, the average GDP per person even surpassed Japan and France during certain periods. Its banking secrecy laws rivaled Switzerland. The country became a safe haven for wealthy elites across the Middle East. Luxury European hotels, casinos, beach resorts, and international tourism flourished everywhere. Lebanon was once the financial, tourism, and cultural center of the Arab world. People called it both Middle Eastern Switzerland and Little Paris of the Middle East. But everything changed in 1975 when civil war erupted, and then came the devastating economic collapse that exploded in 2019. That crisis pushed Lebanon from one of the richest countries in the region into one of the worst economic disasters in modern history. Today, Lebanon is facing a level of hardship that many people around the world can barely imagine. The average monthly income for employed citizens is often only around $150 to $200. But the basic monthly food cost for a family of 4 can easily exceed $250 to $350. That means many families cannot even afford food with their entire monthly salary. More than 80% of Lebanese households spend nearly all their income just trying to survive. Many middle-class families have sold furniture, jewelry, electronics, and even household appliances just to buy food. Children are being fed moldy bread. Some families survive through bartering instead of using money. People exchange whatever they own for basic food supplies. Before the crisis, going out to restaurants by the sea was normal weekend life. Today, millions of people wake up asking only one question: can we eat today? The unemployment rate has exploded. Youth unemployment has surpassed 50%. Finding even temporary work has become extremely difficult, and the healthcare system has nearly collapsed in Lebanon today. Medical treatment is often impossible without cash up front. No money means no treatment. Even emergency rooms frequently refuse patients who cannot pay immediately. Since the economic collapse began, huge numbers of doctors and nurses have left the country. Hospitals lack medicine, equipment, and staff. Many departments have been forced to shut down completely. Education is also falling apart. Public schools suffer from teacher shortages, electricity cuts, and lack of supplies after the escalation of regional conflicts in recent years. Many schools across the country were forced to close entirely. Hundreds of thousands of children have had their education interrupted. Many teenagers now work in the streets, collect trash, or sell goods just to help their families survive. And then came another devastating blow. The banking system collapsed. Banks froze the dollar savings of ordinary citizens. Millions of people lost access to their life savings overnight. Families who spent decades building financial security suddenly found themselves unable to withdraw their own money. The Lebanese currency lost more than 98% of its value. Cash savings turned into worthless paper. Electricity from the national grid is often available for only a few hours each day. Most families rely on expensive private generators. Clean water shortages are common, even bottled drinking. Water has become a luxury for many households. Most people assume Lebanon is simply an Islamic country, but Lebanon is actually the most religiously diverse country in the Middle East. There are 18 officially recognized religious groups. The political system itself is divided by religion. The president must always be a Maronite Christian. The prime minister must be a Sunni Muslim. The speaker of parliament must be a Shia Muslim. Even parliamentary seats are divided equally between Christians and Muslims. Each religious group has its own courts and legal systems. The country often feels less like one unified nation and more like a collection of separate religious communities. And then there is Hezbollah. Many people outside Lebanon believe Hezbollah controls the entire country. But reality is much more complicated. Hezbollah is both a political party and an armed organization. It has seats in parliament. It operates legally inside Lebanon. Its influence is strongest in southern Lebanon, the Bekaa Valley, and parts of Beirut. But other political groups, religious factions, and the Lebanese government all maintain their own power structures globally. Opinions about Hezbollah are deeply divided. Countries like the United States and Israel classify it as a terrorist organization. Meanwhile, other countries and organizations recognize it as a legitimate political force inside Lebanon. What makes Hezbollah unique is that it functions almost like a state within a state. It has military forces, welfare systems, healthcare networks, and political influence. Independent of the Lebanese government, its armed wing is considered one of the strongest non-state military forces in the world. At the same time, Lebanon also faces serious security problems. After the economic collapse, crime rates surged dramatically. Armed robbery, theft, kidnapping, and extortion increased across many regions. Even parts of Beirut become dangerous at night. Foreigners are often warned about robbery and kidnapping risks. Geographically, Lebanon sits in southwestern Asia. It borders Syria to the north and east, Israel to the south, and the Mediterranean Sea to the west. Despite its small size, Lebanon has an enormous global diaspora. More than 18 million people of Lebanese origin live abroad, compared to only around 6 million inside the country itself. Nearly every Lebanese family has relatives overseas. Money sent home from abroad has become the backbone of the economy. These remittances make up a huge portion of Lebanon's GDP and help countless families survive. And despite all its problems, Lebanon remains one of the most naturally beautiful countries in the Middle East. Unlike many Arab nations, Lebanon has no desert. The country is filled with mountains, forests, beaches, and snow-covered peaks. You can swim in the Mediterranean and see snow on the mountains in the same day. But beauty alone could not save the country from economic disaster. Since 2019, Lebanon has suffered one of the worst peacetime economic collapses in modern global history. Its GDP collapsed, its banking system imploded, inflation spiraled out of control. Millions fell into poverty almost overnight. Yet daily life still continues. In parts of Beirut, restaurants remain open. Tourists still visit certain coastal cities. People still gather in cafes, celebrate weddings, and try to enjoy life despite the chaos surrounding them. Lebanon today is a country of contradictions. Luxury beside poverty. Freedom beside Conservatism.beauty beside collapse, it is a place where resilience and tragedy exist together every single day. So now the question is, could you survive in a country where everything around you feels uncertain, but people still refuse to give up hope? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave your thoughts in the comments, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next story.